Game Smash Podcast. As always, I'm your host from Liberty, and with me is...
Boaz Muhammad Yusuf.
And today we got some stuff. We're going to do our wrap-up of E3, and more to the point, we're going to be doing our E3 awards. We're going to be talking about biggest surprise of E3 2017, the biggest disappointment, the best press conference, the worst press conference, the no-show, our biggest no-show, and game of the show. Before we get into that, let's talk about what we played this week. So I got my hands on ARMS, and so I've been I've been playing that, and it's pretty good. It's a lot of fun. Like there's a good amount of modes to play. Like I was actually kind of surprised because I thought, oh, it's mostly going to be just the fighting mode. It's like no. There's a volleyball mode. There's a basketball mode that's a lot of fun in which you have to dunk the other player into a net.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. What was the other one that there's actually one that was surprisingly I thought was going to be boring, but it's actually kind of fun. The target practice one, because you're hitting targets with your arms, but you're also the other person. There's a person on the other side of the field who's also trying to hit the same targets, and you can hit each other. So there's this kind of like cool meta game where it's like I'm not only trying to hit targets, but I'm also trying to hit you so that you get knocked down and I can hit more targets. And it's actually kind of fun. I was pretty pleasantly surprised with that. But yeah, I played a bunch of that. Oh, the one thing I will say is I kind of suck because I'm getting stomped by level 3's computers, and like. It's a hard game because it feels like a fighting game, absolutely, right? But the big it's a lot about, because when you shoot out your arms, there's kind of like a wait time for you to get your arms back. There's this mind game in which you have to kind of think, am I gonna risk it and try and curve my shot this direction, or am I gonna wait for my opponent to screw up and try and hit them back? Or something like that, and you cancel throws by shooting just one punch, and you have to shoot that punch in between the two fists as it comes towards you. So if you throw a punch and if it hits the side, it's not going to count. You have to actually hit in between the throws. So it makes for a really interesting kind of mind game in which positioning and movement, and it's less about comboing and it's more about picking your shots. And it is a lot of fun. I like how all the maps have kind of like neat little environment stuff to them. There's one map that kind of plays like a Tetris board in which there's blocks that pop up and you can use that to jump to higher lengths. The other thing that they do that I think is really cool is to make it so that people don't just sit on the corner of the maps and camp, right? Because that could be an issue. They have it so that every once in a while during the match, these water bottles will drop. And one of them it's like a little radius, and while you're in it, your character heals. And the other one is when your character's in this radius, your super meter charges faster. So those will drop in the middle of the battlefield from time to time, so it makes it so that you have to start getting a lot more aggressive, because if you aren't, your opponent's going to either get all their health bar back, or they're going to get their meter back. And yeah, and it's pretty cool overall. But yeah, I'm liking the game a lot, and that's the only other game that I really played this week was I started back into Nier, trucking through to get the ending B. It's a lot of interesting stuff, and not really much to say. I don't want to get too deep into the plot stuff, but I find it interesting how when you're playing through this game a second time, you're starting to notice things that seem kind of off, and I think it's very intentional. I find it very interesting. But anyway, that's what I played this week. What about you, Flaws?
A quick question before we move away from ARMS. So, how's Twin Tail?
Oh, well, we're going to get to that later. Don't worry. Don't jump the gun too much, Fawaz. Don't worry.
I played XCOM 2, actually. I went back, I got back into XCOM 2 after, they announced the DLC.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, now's as good a time as any. So I did what I've been holding off on doing for a while, and that was that I started my. Well, at this point, I've actually finished it. I've recorded the whole thing. I'm just gonna be uploading it to the channel now. I did my Iron Man, my Commander Iron Man playthrough.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah, it was fun. Okay, so what I did, I don't know if you've watched the video yet, but I named a bunch of my soldiers after people that I knew.
Am I on that list?
Yes, you're on that list, Tanner. You were my grenadier.
Did I survive, or should I? Or are you not gonna tell me?
I'm not gonna spoil it. All I'm going to say, Tanner, is that your character specifically cost me a lot of headaches. That's all.
Yes, that is perfect. I love that. I need. Okay, I'm going to watch those videos. I have to know. I have to know.
Yeah, he fell in love with a stun baton, and I'm just going to leave it at that. But yeah,
Yes.
yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's stressful. I don't want to say stressful. Here's the thing. Like after playing like a full campaign in Iron Man, I don't think I can go back to playing regular. I mean, obviously, when I do my Legend playthrough, I'm going to play regular because Legend is very difficult. Legend is very difficult, but like anything under Legend, I don't think I can do it outside of Iron Man. It's just really really exciting, you know. Just knowing that every decision, and it makes you, because there's a bunch of little habits that you cannot develop playing XCOM. You know, never dash, never never explore while you're fighting a pod. All those little things that can, you know, severely save your life. You will learn, because, you know, when you're playing regular, you make that mistake and you just reload a save, right? You don't remember. But when that shit actually costs you your corporal,
you remember that shit.
You will remember not to do that again. I'm actually just sitting here, and I mean, obviously, I played Commander Iron Man. I lost soldiers. That just goes without saying. And there was one situation that, like, it's something that, you know, I kept telling myself not to do. And then one point I get lazy and I do it, and then it cost me like 3 soldiers. So yeah. Anyway, that's what I've been playing. XCOM 2, Commander Iron Man. Look forward to the playthrough. I'm gonna be uploading it. I'm gonna try and do 2 a day because it's a lot of episodes, as you could probably imagine. So I'm gonna try and do 2 a day. I should be done. I don't know. I haven't counted, and the PS5 give me some issues with uploads, but we'll figure it out. Look forward to that in the coming days.
I'm very excited. I will watch that alongside. I cannot wait. It's gonna be fun. So are you ready to get into some awards?
Let's get into some awards. So our first award is biggest surprise of E3 2017. You want to take this away?
Sure. For me, I'm gonna say the biggest surprise was probably Beyond Good and Evil 2, because, like, to me, it was like that was on the list. That was on the list of games that I put on the never gonna come out pile. Like that was up there. Well, before the shit got real a couple years ago, it was in the pile of, you know, Final Fantasy Remake and Shenmue 3. It was in that pile, right? So
Yeah.
I was really surprised to see them go, all right, we're bringing it back. It's been dormant for so long, and I'm very, very curious to see what they do with it. But it was, and I have to give Ubisoft credit. That was a really, really good game to end on. Like, that was I'm very glad that they picked that as their stinger, you know?
Yeah. You know, I was gonna go with Beyond Good and Evil 2, but since you picked that, I'm gonna go with 2 things. First of all, Monster Hunter World. I did not think we were going to see a console Monster Hunter, and I definitely didn't think we were going to see one on a non-Nintendo home console. So that was quite a shocker. And then the other one for me is the XCOM 2 DLC. Not because I didn't think it could happen, but because I just didn't think it was going to. Does that make any sense? It's not like I was like, oh my god, this is impossible, you know, like Half-Life 3 or something like that. It was just one of those things that I wasn't expecting. You know, I thought they were done with XCOM 2.
Yeah, because I can understand that completely, because they released 2 DLC packs, and, you know, they were small, but they were still packed with stuff in them. But it wasn't like. It kind of felt like, all right, they got their 2 DLC packs out of the way, and because of the season pass, right? Because it was all part of this little season pass, you think, well, it's done, right? They're gonna move on, and
Exactly. And
yeah.
now they're like, nope, not even. Like this is a completely like it's gonna be like XCOM 2.5. Like
Hmm.
it's up to changing system mechanics. They're buffing the Spark unit, which is long overdue. That unit is garbage.
Yeah.
They're buffing the Spark unit. They're they're adding like the ability for your units to get into relationship, well, not relationships, we're not talking Mass Effect here, but like certain units work better with after they level up together, they work better together. So if you put the two of them on a mission together,
You know what's funny? When I was reading that, I was like, oh my god, they're taking cues from Fire Emblem?
I was gonna say it sounds like Fire Emblem. Yeah, there's that. They're adding a new mechanic called fatigue, where you can't just because what most people do when they play XCOM is that they get their super squad. There's 6 people who are really good, and then they just use them all the time. When one of them gets injured, then they cycle in one of the B team.
Mm-hmm.
But in general, you have your A team, and you never switch off your A team. You can't do that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
There's gonna be fatigue, and if one unit goes to too many missions simultaneously, they get tired, and they just randomly like they get different ailments. So like the accuracy goes down, they just disobey orders and stuff like that. It's like a brand new game. So I'm really excited for this, and I'm looking forward to seeing more.
Yeah, no, I think it was definitely a pleasant surprise seeing that, and obviously completely agree with you. Like it was honestly a tie between Monster Hunter World and Beyond Good and Evil 2. And the reason why I gave Beyond Good and Evil 2 the tip was because like it was in that pile. Like Monster Hunter World wasn't like out of the question for me. It was more that it was out of the question right now. Like it was
Yeah,
something that I thought we'd get maybe 5 years from now, not like
yeah.
2018. So yeah, that definitely those were good choices for biggest surprise. So, well, let's take this high. Let's take this high and bring it down super low because we're going to talk about the biggest disappointment in E3. I want you to go first this time, Fawaz. What was your biggest
Okay.
disappointment?
So I've got two once again. My first one, and this is hands down my biggest disappointment from E3, was Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. This was the only game because like me, I always try to keep my expectations low going into E3. I look at the list of games that are confirmed to show, and I look for a game in there I'm excited for, and I'm like, okay, cool. This is the game this is my E3 right here. I'm gonna look forward
Right.
to gameplay of this game. I'm gonna look forward to like walkthroughs and stuff like that. This is what I'm looking forward to this E3. And somehow Capcom still found a way to disappoint me. Now, I do want to say that in the days since E3, my stance has softened a little for a couple of reasons. One is that the story demo that Capcom released was not a good representation of the game.
Mm-hmm.
To which I always say, then why release the goddamn thing? It's like when someone shows alpha footage and they're like that. Well, this is just alpha footage. The game's gonna look better. I'm like, then show us when the game looks better.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently, the E3 demo, the demo that's actually on the floors, it looks better. Well, marginally. Let's keep it real here,
Mm-hmm.
because I think even people that have played have said that Chun-Li looks like shit. Dante looks like a crack addict. Um, um, Rocket Raccoon looks like he has rabies. It's just bad. The game just
Mm-hmm.
looks bad. I'll never forget when they showed the first bit of gameplay. I was like, okay, the gameplay looks like fun, but the UI looks like shit. I was 100% sure it was a placeholder UI. I was like, there's no way
Yeah.
they're going to launch with such an ugly UI. I gave Capcom way too much credit. Have you seen the character selection?
I've seen it. It's not great. It's not
Did you see
great.
the comparison when they put like Marvel 3 and Infinite? That's the part. I think that's the part that bothers me the most about this game, right? Is that how do you release a game that looks worse than its predecessor? Even if they are just imported assets from Marvel 3, this game would look better.
Like it's one of those things where it's like because I watched the story demo. Like I watched a full playthrough of the story demo, and I know it's not fully representative of what the game is going to be. But when I was watching it, it was like things don't look as flashy. They don't look as crisp as they did in Marvel 3, and it looks. If I'm being perfectly honest, this makes me think of it makes me think of King of Fighters to a certain extent.
It does remind me of King of Fighters a lot. Now the one saving grace is that everyone, literally everyone that has played it, has said that it's a lot of fun. Because they had a new tag mechanic where you can tag out after doing absolutely anything. So they said that new tag mechanic just allows, because Marvel's thing has always been that it's a sandbox, right? When they were creating Marvel 3, that's what they sold to that. They were like, it's a sandbox fighting game where you can just, if you think it, you can probably do it. So this takes that to excuse me. This takes that to the next level, right? There's so many possibilities here. There's so many possibilities that like we can't even begin to scratch the surface. But like no matter how, like every single time, like even as I'm saying this and trying to build myself up, I start thinking of how shit the roster looks. Because that's the thing, right? I could live with one or the other. I could live with a shit looking game or a shit roster. But both it's tough, like I said, I might end up getting it in September, but like let's look, this was my most anticipated game in December, and now I'm talking about how I might get it when it comes out. Man, Capcom, this is, first of all, I just want to say this is the last time I'm giving a Capcom game most anticipated, because they did it to me with Street Fighter 5. And then when Marvel Infinite came out, I was like that, you know what, let me be cautiously optimistic. And to be fair, I am being a lot more cautious with this game than I was with Street Fighter 5. But even then, like I set my standards low, they still found a way. They were like, yo, they hit me with that, the limbo, they went like right under my expectations.
Yeah. They just dulcim their way underneath that pole.
So you say yours, and I'll see what my second one is.
Well, honestly, like I just to add a little bit more to yours, was like the thing that honestly disappointed me even more is like when I saw, because the one thing that, for me, that I was kind of excited for was okay, I'd like to see the story demo and see what kind of goofy story that they're gonna go for, right?
Yeah.
And I was hoping for an enjoyable Goofy, and it didn't really hit that stride, because the problem I had was I was watching like some of the cutscenes that the characters were interacting with each other, and so many of them were like, "Hello, Rocket Raccoon. It's nice to meet you. I am Thor from Argas," or whatever the fuck is it? Asgard. But and like the voice acting's really, the voice acting's bad. Like there's like, okay, here's the thing. Here's a big difference. I've played 2 games. I can think of another game that has really bad voice acting, but I actually loved how weird and off, like, stilter that voice acting was, and that's Final Fantasy X. I loved how goofy the voice acting in that game was. And in here, I don't even get that. I just get a very, like, mediocre performances from everyone involved, and I'm like, this sucks. And that's the thing that pisses, and that's me, like, talking from, like, the presentation itself was, the game itself has problems, obviously, but that's, like, I'm very particular about, like, vocal work, especially.
Yeah.
And when I see, like, not even so bad it's good, or just middle, I remember listening to somebody talk about how a 5 out of 10 is the worst it can be.
Yeah. I actually agree with that. Because when something, there's a level of absurdity that something can attain where you're like that. Okay, I've never. This is bad, but I can laugh about it. Like episode 3, Star Wars episode 3. A couple days ago, I was just laughing with my friends about the whole high ground. Right?
Yes.
It's like it was so stupid that like it brought me joy. So yeah, I actually agree with you, and that's another good point. Is the voice acting. Like, if you watch there's a trailer they showed of gameplay, right? And if you look at Doctor Strange and Spencer, their voice acting in this game, they're saying the exact same lines from Marvel 3, but somehow it's just worse. It just sounds half-assed. And sure, it sounds like I'm nitpicking, but honestly, like you said yourself, you listen to it, and voice acting is just bad. It's not Final Fantasy X bad. It's just mediocre.
Yeah.
It's mediocre, and it reeks of a company that just does not put enough effort in. Like the only thing that's saving this game right now is that Dragon Ball Fighter, a game we'll get into later on the show, isn't coming out in September. If they were both coming out in September, there's no world where I buy Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite.
No.
Like there's no reality.
Hell, I'm probably going to buy Dragon Ball Fighter because it looks amazing.
But anyway, like the other disappointment for me, because like I could do a whole podcast on Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, just one last thing I want to say about this game. It's a realization that I came to recently, right?
Right.
So one thing that people complain about is that Capcom dumbed their games down, right? And Capcom dumbed their games down to reach a wider audience, right?
Right.
The irony of this situation is that doesn't work. You look at the most popular game in the world, and it's League of Legends. League of Legends is not an easy game. It's easier than Dota, probably, but it's not easy. What?
No, I'm agreeing with you. League of Legends is not an easy game, but it's certainly easier than Dota.
But it's not easy. Like, it's funny because there's no proof to back up this ridiculous claim that dumbing the game, especially with fighting games. You look at one of the best-selling fighting games right now, and that's NetherRealm's games. NetherRealm's games sell very, very, very well. They have absolutely no competitive scene whatsoever. The competitive scenes die really, really quickly. They have the shortest life expectancy. But the game sells player content, good single player content. Not this shit story mode that they're people. Anyway, that's all I've got to say about that. I can keep going. The other disappointment for me was Microsoft's first party showing.
Yeah.
I was really hoping that Microsoft would come out and they would just give us a bunch of first party games to talk about for like the next year or so. Now they've said that they have some more exclusives in the works, and there's more coming down the line, and they didn't want to talk about games that are too far down. I call bullshit because Microsoft did the same shit with the Xbox 360. They say it all the time. They were like that, we have more exclusives coming down the line, and it was theoretically true. It's just that those other exclusives ended up being more Halo, more Gear, and more Forza, right?
Yeah.
I wanted them to come out and hit me with some new IPs. Give me a sequel to Killer Instinct, a game that has done relatively well for them, has a decent competitive scene, and I don't know the numbers, but I imagine it didn't sell too poorly. And even if it didn't knock down doors or anything like that, you have to Grand Theft Auto didn't become big until Grand Theft Auto 3, right? Call of Duty didn't become huge until Call of Duty 4. Sometimes you got to pound the rock to really get to the success. I was hoping we'll see some new IPs. We'll see Conquer come back. It's funny because they show a trailer in their press conference with an orange animal, and I'm like, oh shit, Conquer, and it's like, no, it's not Conquer. And now, to be fair, that game, I forget the name, I don't really care. It looks good, but I was like, it's not.
I think they're taunting Conquer fans at this point. I think there's a conspiracy that they just want to fuck over Conquer fans, and it sucks.
So I thought I was like, okay, maybe Perfect Dark. Maybe we'll get some new IPs. Maybe we'll get Sunset Overdrive 2. No, and no.
Actually, okay. Actually, here's a point that I want to point out. Where the fuck is Battletoads?
Battletoads? Like, this dude, what was it again? He shows up to an award show.
He showed up to like an event with a Battletoads t-shirt, and everyone's like, "Oh, Battletoads, right?" And like, okay, sure, we got Rash, but no, I kind of want, you know how like Neon Double Dragon was a really great reboot for the Double Dragon series. I want to see something like that done with Battletoads, because I have a lot of fond memories of Battletoads, and it's like they haven't talked about it or hinted at it or nothing.
Yeah, he's at an event and he's wearing a Battletoads t-shirt. Then they add the Battletoads to Shovel Knight, and everybody's like that. Oh yeah, Battletoads, they're coming, right? They have to be coming. Then they add Rash to Killer Instinct, and then it's like, all right, well, that's all you're getting. Like, where's the new Battletoads? Thank you, actually, for reminding me. Like, Microsoft actually have a lot more like good franchises than you think. They don't touch any of them. They're all dormant. They're all lying dormant. Here's more Forza for you. Next year we're gonna get more Gears. The year after that we're gonna get Halo, and that's that. So yeah, Microsoft's first party showing was disappointing, but not half as disappointing as Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. So that is
a good answer. Good two answers. So my answer for the biggest disappointment, it's gonna connect to worst conference, so we'll get to that. But
Oh,
I gotta say Bethesda. I was so utterly disappointed with Bethesda this year. Like, it was a shit show. Like, this was bad. And I talked about it, so I won't talk about the main part that pissed me off, was Bethesda Land, which was the joke that didn't die, and how that just got on my nerves so much. Like, I've never, like, to this day, I have never actually had a conference actively annoy me as much as that did, and that sucked. But it's all the other things that they did. Like, they're trying to make a big deal out of, like, their card game. Like, nobody gives a shit about, the Elder Scrolls Legends. Like, nobody. And
no
then,
one
of course,
actually cares about the Elder Scrolls Legends.
sorry.
I said I'm agreeing with you.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. But it's like, yeah, nobody really cares about that, and they're pushing Fallout 4 VR, and they're pushing Skyrim VR, and it's like, guys, like, Skyrim has become Minecraft in the sense where we get it, it's a good game, but you've been selling it to us for the last, like, 8 years pretty much, or 7 years. It feels like 7 years, but it's a lot less, but it
Do you
feels
know
like.
that quote? Sorry for cutting you off, because I know I'll forget. Do you know this quote? I fear not the man who has practiced 1,000 punches. I fear the man who has practiced one punch 1,000 times. Right? You know that quote? Yeah. So like I saw a variation of that quote. It had a picture of Todd Howard, right? And then it was
Mhm.
like, I fear not the man who has launched 1,000 games. I fear the man who has launched one game 1,000 times.
That's pretty good, and that's apt as far as I feel with Skyrim, because I like Skyrim. Skyrim's a
That's just
good
better.
game. Skyrim's a fun, fantastic game that is really accessible to a lot of different people, and it's a great experience. It's just like, guys, we get it. And seeing that take a big chunk along with Fallout 4 VR, I was like, oh my god. And then, of course, the big one that made me go, oh wow, those dirt bags! I can't believe it. Them trying to sneak in paid mods with a different, like, it's not paid mods, guys. It's credits, and we're gonna do a good job moderating it. You know, probably as effective as Steam is with Greenlight. And it's like seeing them do. I was actually really shocked that they did that, because I was like, wow, the balls on them to do that at their press conference is insane to me. Now, granted, they had two games that I actually thought were kind of cool. I did like the Evil Within trailer. I thought that was a really well cut trailer, and I did like Wolfenstein: The New Colossus. But everything else, and the thing is with the Bethesda conference is that I usually expect them to do above average, right?
Yeah.
Above average, or just hit a good solid, like, you did a good conference, right?
Yeah.
And seeing them just focus on the wrong things, sneak in paid mods, and it was just a disappointment, because I was expecting so much more from them. And yeah, so that was my biggest disappointment from E3.
Okay, so I guess you lumped two answers in one there. So I'm gonna piggyback off that and go to my worst conference, since let's not let's I mean let's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
double.
that's true. I kind of combined worst conference and whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah. So no, that's fine. That's fine. Like for me, worst conference is tough because I watched all of them except EA's, and they were all a lot of them were just average, right? I don't
Hmm.
I can't think of any that was like bad, was awful, except EA's. And now, to be fair, I'm going to put a little aside here
Hmm.
and acknowledge that I did not actually watch the EA's press conference, so I have no credibility as far as this
Hmm.
is concerned. But even with that said, I am almost 100% sure that if I actually watched EA's press conference, it would have been the worst press conference for me at this entire trade
Hmm.
show. Because like Bethesda, when you lay it out like that, I'm like, wow, Bethesda really did shit the bed, because
Hmm.
like they showed Morrowind that I think is already out. I'm not sure. I'm confused now because I thought Morrowind was already out. Oh shit! What? One sec. Hello?
Yeah, I'm still here. What's going on?
Oh no, because you see, so you know how I save all my notes in an email, right? So
Yeah.
so whenever we have the podcast up, I always have Yahoo Mail open, and for some reason, I guess there was just a random commercial playing in Yahoo
Oh,
Mail.
okay. But be careful. Don't add more tabs. Don't bring us back to the dark times.
It's all good. It's all good. But yeah, when you laid it out that way, Bethesda really did shit the bed because like Morrowind, it's like okay, we already know about this. Then the old paid mods, and then the Elder Scrolls Legends or whatever it is. It's funny. I didn't realize how little people cared about that game until Gwent came out.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, okay, wait, so people actually don't care about this Elder Scrolls Legends game.
No, they don't, because what's funny? When it said new expansion, I kind of went, oh, it came out. I completely forgot about that.
Dude, we spoke about it.
I know, we spoke about it on the podcast, and how it had like the most like lukewarm launch ever, because like honestly, like I feel like because Gwent, at least Gwent, it had a fan base, like it brought people in, whereas I feel like they thought they could try and do what Hearthstone did, and it's like, well, I mean, we made fun of that trailer. That trailer was the most like I couldn't believe how stolen that trailer was. Like
that trailer was like copy. Like I'm actually surprised that they hit him with the old copyright infringement because that shit was crazy.
It was like beat for beat, like
beat for beat. They went to their trailer guy and they were like, you see this Hearthstone trailer? Make me something like this. And then he gives them something that's inspired by it. They're like, no, you misunderstood me. I meant make me something exactly
like this. Yeah. It turned out into that. But yeah, no, but yeah, no. So is it gonna be EA or who?
It's gonna be EA for me.
Yeah.
It's gonna be EA for me. Yeah. It just like no one cares about sports, right? Well, that's not true. A lot of people care about sports. Let me rephrase that. I don't care about sports. I don't want to watch I don't want to watch you talk about. First of all, I hate annual releases. Period.
Mm-hmm.
But I specifically hate sport games because. So for me, I'm like, I don't want to watch you talk about sports for however long they spoke about sports on their press conference. I'm gonna give it to EA.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I will say this about EA was really bad, and I think the bigger problem is that because you talk about they focus so much on sports games, and I think the bigger issue is that I wouldn't mind them talking about sports games, but it shouldn't be like 2/3 of their conference. Like it's like mix it up a little. Like if you want to bring sports in, why don't just bunch it into like a whole segment like EA Sports, and you show a trailer for like the new FIFA, you show a new trailer for like the new NHL or whatever. Like you just shotgun them, right? Back to back to back. Maybe talk about it for a little while, but make it like a 15-minute segment at the most. But the fact that they spend like 30 to 40 minutes talking about it, it's just like, come on, guys. Like there's other things that you are known for. Hell, I would have been happy if they had shown off some, Titanfall 2 DLC. Maybe some single player content. That would be kind of cool.
Oh my god, yeah, you're right. They were like, Titanfall 2? You mean that game that gives out free DLC? Yeah, that's not coming anywhere near my friends. Fuck out of here.
Yes. Good old EA.
To be fair, before, they are giving out free DLC with Battlefield, Star Wars Battlefront, so that should also be one of my biggest surprises from E3. But I digress. Let's go to more positive stuff now. What was your best press conference at E3?
For me?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say the best conference was definitely Ubisoft. I think Ubisoft had an overall really good conference. It was paced well. There was a variety of content of all ages. There were some surprises, like a Mario XCOM. That's weird and different. Sure, why not? They announced some new IPs. We got to see Skull and Bones. Skull and Bones looks pretty promising. And, they revealed, a really, really popular game that a lot of people never thought that we would actually get to see. With Beyond Good and Evil 2. And I was actually really pleasantly surprised with them. I do want to give special nods to Nintendo as well. I know that we differed on it, but I liked it because it was short and there wasn't a whole lot of awkward pauses, like those awkward moments where like they're transitioning from game to game, because it was just bam, 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 bam. So I did like Nintendo's because it was short and sweet, but Ubisoft I think had, in my opinion, the best conference overall. But what about you? What do you think?
Yeah, I completely agree. I completely agree. Ubisoft, best press conference out of all of them. It was a very nice mix. They had some pleasant surprises, like you said. You know, they had the if it had a little bit of everything that I like to see at a press conference. They showed support for their current games. They announced DLC for Steep,
Mm-hmm.
and I think they showed DLC for one other game, but I can't remember off the top of my head. They announced sequels for already established games. You know, they announced a sequel for the Crew. They gave us a new Assassin's Creed, and a new Far Cry.
Yep.
Then they had some new IPs. You know, they had Black Skull and Bones, and then they announced that robot game with the little toys. I forget the name. It's like a spaceship
Oh
game.
yeah, that was another one that I thought was really weird but kind of cool. Because I always thought Skylanders looked really cheesy. Like I never got Skylanders, I didn't get it. Whereas this, I could totally get. I could totally get, for sure. But then again, it looks like the biggest money grabbing scheme imaginable because it's essentially a ship that you have to buy parts for.
Yeah, it's funny because the trailer starts and I was like, okay, this looks cool. It looks a little bit like Star Fox, and then they show all the little toys, and I'm like, I'm out.
I mean, I'm
Yes.
I'm pointing out that it's like I know this is clearly not for me. Like this is not for me. It's one of those I would put in the not for me category. But that being said, I think for a kid buying a cool like little spaceship, that's that you put onto your Switch, I think would be super rad overall.
Yeah, when you put it that way, that actually sounds pretty cool. But yeah, and then they finish it off with like the mother of all megatons. You know, they were like that one game that you guys have been begging for a very long time. Here you
Mm.
go. So for me, like the pacing was good. You know, they had the Mario XCOM game. Yeah, outside at the beginning where it was really slow. They spent a little too much time talking about the new Mario game versus actually showing it.
Mm.
Outside of that, it was good. Like even the Just Dance performance, I liked it. Now, obviously, I'm biased because the chick that was performing was thicker than a milkshake. But you know, it's
I see you're just planting the seeds for the theme. They're just getting the theme. Is that going to be the name of the podcast?
yeah, it's not foreshadowing, right? You know,
Yeah.
we put a little bit of foreshadowing in the podcast. You know, we met Elle earlier on, and now we mentioned Baby. I think that was her name. But yeah, you know, like even the performance, I was like, yo, I could get down with this. You know, like, obviously I have very biased reasons for why I could get down with that Just Dance game. But that's
It
besides the
was
point.
I was
So
okay
yeah,
with like I was honestly okay with it. Although I will admit that's one thing that I do kind of get a bit tired of because they've actually done it. They did it last year and I was like, okay, just dance. And then they did it again and I'm like, if they do it okay, like here's my thing, if they do it a third year, like if they do this again next year, I'm going to be like, okay, guys. Okay. Come on.
I think they will. I'm pretty sure they've done it every single year for a very long time. Because 2 years ago, they had Jason Derulo up there performing, and he tried to get Aisha Taylor to come up to dance with him, and she was like, "Nah, B, not all black people can dance." And last year, they opened up with Just Dance, and then this year they had it in. Like, I think this is pretty much their EA Sports. You know, they're like that. You know, it keeps the lights on at Ubisoft. But yeah, you know, similar to what you said, you know, you would like that, you know, you hope that they do like a 15-minute thing. This was like a solid 3 minutes. I mean, it's a
You know
little
what?
crazy.
You know, I do agree with. Yeah, you know what? When you point it out that way, like comparing it to EA and how they just drown you with sports, like you just get waterboarded with sports, and all you're begging for is anything else.
Zana's like, yeah, well, when you compare it to Satan, well,
Yeah,
obviously.
well, obviously, it's you know, it's like it's basically you know, Just Dance. Ubisoft is just sprinkling a little bit of water on top of your head, and EA is just waterboarding you with 4 different buckets.
You're like, you will like EA Sports.
You will like the new FIFA. I don't care if you bought the other 6. You will buy this one. Dunk,
The one thing
dunk,
that I
dunk.
actually want to dock their points for is one other annual tradition that I think is getting tired, and that is South Park: The Fractured But Whole.
Mm-hmm.
Like every year, I'm like, this game still isn't out yet. How is this still at your E3 press conference?
It fascinates. That does fascinate. Well, it fascinates me, but I also understand that it's like because of how the game isn't art, because of how the game's art is, and like I actually watched a lot of behind the scenes footage of the first South Park game. They're talking about how like Trey and Matt are very, very particular about how characters should move in the game specifically, and I can understand why that's taking so long. And I also heard that part of the reason why this is taking so long is because they really wanted to improve. Like they're very self-critical of their own work a lot of the times, which I find very fascinating.
Because they're critical of everybody else too.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no. Overall, I think Ubisoft did a damn good job. Good job,
I think
guys.
they did a very good job. Now it's all downhill from here. But props
Props to them for now. Yeah.
really
So let's
impressed.
talk about no shows. Biggest no show of this year. Do you mind if I go first?
No, you go first. I'm really curious to hear how your no show's going.
Well, the problem is that I have like honestly it's like three that are kind of all
Okay.
tied. But the one that bummed me out the most is that I know that it was a bit hopeful, but I really wanted to see like Last of Us 2. You know, I really cuz like the Last of Us 2 E3 trailer from all those years back was amazing. It was an awesome trailer. Like the
Last of
moment
Us 2?
Sorry, not Last of Us. I mean the first Last of Us. Sorry. I
Oh, okay.
got my words jumbled. Yeah, Last of Us 2 got released in the past.
I was like, Last of Us 2 wasn't at E3 ever. What is he talking about?
Okay. But what I mean is that Last of Us 1, they had an E3 demo trailer live in front of the the conference, and
That sounds really good.
it was just divine. Like the moment where the crowd lost it when Ellie just chucked the brick at that guy's face, I was like, this is awesome. I love it when there's a huge crowd reaction during
Yeah.
trailers. Because there's always that like thing where it's like an audience is like you get trailers where it's like, okay, that was pretty good, and then everyone claps and cheers at the end. But when people are cheering mid trailer, that's when you know they're doing something right because they can't contain themselves. But yeah, that was a really big bummer because I was really hoping for it. The other ones that I was really hoping for was like I wanted Bloodborne 2. Like
Yeah, actually, that wasn't my big no show, but I'm actually going to put that on my list too.
cause like they're being very quiet. They haven't announced like honestly even not even Bloodborne 2, but what's the next project, guys? What's the next big Miyazaki project or a From Software project? Because I want to know. Like, and I want to see Bloodborne 2, but if it had been a new IP, that would have been great. But the fact that we didn't get either, I was like, man, because I was really hopeful that they were going to show Bloodborne 2 a teaser for it like last, and we ended up not getting it. We got and Spider-Man looks cool, but it was like I was
Bloodborne 2.
it's no Bloodborne 2.
Yeah, now you
Yeah.
mentioned it, I was actually almost 100% sure we were getting either Bloodborne 2 or Miyazaki or From Software's next game. Now, with that said, I still think it's going to get announced this year. I'll bet my journalistic integrity on it being announced this year. So yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think the only other one that, like, I don't think we're ever going to see it at E3 again, but I would have liked to have seen Shenmue 3, or at least see, like, a little bit more of a trailer of Shenmue 3.
Wait, say you don't think I'm gonna see that E3 again? Do you mean you've just given up on the game? It just doesn't exist anymore.
No. When I say because I feel like because it's not like a big AAA game. It's a Kickstarter game just with AAA backing. I want to see how it's turning out, but because it's fallen into the pile. It's like I'm glad that this is back, but they're being really quiet about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, those would be my picks. What about you, Fawaz? What are your picks?
Just for an aside, just a quick aside. I do want to say that 2 years ago, when Sony announced Shenmue 3 at their press conference, one of the reasons why I was not as excited for it as everybody else was because I was like, they're gonna announce it now, and then we're not gonna hear about it for 5 years. So like we can actually go back to our E3
15, yeah, 15.
2015 podcast, and I'm pretty sure those were my exact words. That and Final Fantasy 7 remake. I was like, they're gonna announce these games this year, and then we're not gonna hear it. It's gonna become another Cyberpunk 2077. They're gonna hear about it for like 5 years. So if that
did that get resolved? Did they get the money, or did
no. They said that they do not negotiate with terrorists. So for those that don't know, somebody stole some stuff from CD Projekt Red. They stole some assets of Cyberpunk 2077 from CD Projekt Red, and they threatened to leak the stuff if CD Projekt Red didn't like pay them however much they were saying they were going to pay them. And then CD Projekt were like, do your worst. We don't really care. And that was the end of that. Yeah.
And that was the end of that. I love the idea of like that hacker guy going, "Oh yeah, I've got all the power in the world," and then Steve is like, "We don't give a shit," and he's like, "Oh, shit."
It's funny that when I read the article, the first thing that I thought of was that I can't even blame the guy, but I was like, okay, let me not joke about this. This is actually kind of serious. This is people's life work that someone is making. So let's not make light of it. With that said, if he hasn't clued you in already, the biggest no-show for me was to Cyberpunk 2077. I don't know why, but I was so certain we were going to see it this year. So I can't remember if I mentioned this on last week's podcast. It was a really long podcast and it was all a blur. But
that's kind of what E3 is every year. Right? It's all a blur.
They announced the game 2013. Okay, 2014 goes by. We don't hear anything about the game. That's fine, right? 2015, they're like they announced in like 2014 or 2015 that they need to double down on The Witcher 3. They thought they were farther along than they were. So I was like, okay, cool. We're not gonna hear anything about this game until The Witcher 3 is done. The Witcher 3 is done in 2015. But then I'm like, okay, The Witcher 3 came out in May, and there's still DLC coming out in October. They're not going to show this game in June to take the shine away from The Witcher 3. Okay, 2016 comes. You're like, that 2016 is Geralt's year. I'm like, okay, I can respect that. We're not going to see any Cyberpunk 2077 this year. 2017 comes. Geralt's story is done. The Witcher 3 is done. The only thing that they're working on right now is Gwent, and like I don't think the main team, I don't think the entire team at CD Projekt Red are working on. It's
the entire team for Fawaz. Everyone, day and night, the writers, the artists, everyone from CD Projekt Red is like, dying to work on Gwent. It's the one game that keeps them awake at night.
So yeah, for me, I was certain. I was like if we had done an E3 prediction podcast, I would have bet on it. I would have been like 100% we're seeing it this year. We're gonna see that Microsoft's press conference. I was sure. So then Microsoft press conference comes and it finishes. I know Cyberpunk 2077. And at that point, I don't know why I don't know why I felt more confident about Microsoft press conference than Sony's or the PC conference. But yeah, once Microsoft press conference was done, I was like, wow, why not seeing it this year? Oh, to be fair, they said that it's still possible that we see it this year. I don't think we will. I think it's still E3 2018 now.
Yeah, because honestly, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but like honestly, part of the problem I had with 2027 is that, how you were complaining about how like it's Shenmue 3 got announced and you're gonna wait 5 years before you actually get anything. I feel like they pulled that with 2027. They announced that so goddamn early that they should have announced that on the back end of maybe Witcher 3 being finished, but the fact that Witcher 3 hadn't been finished yet and they announced that, it's like, oh god, this is not coming out for a very long time.
No, I completely agree. They dropped the ball on that. I think even they will agree. Because, yeah, they said, there was an article, I can't find it right now off the top of my head. But there was an article where they were like that, yeah, they thought they were farther along in development for The Witcher 3. That was why they were like, okay, cool, let's show this other game that we're working on. And then, they would have had people working on that game while the rest of the team was finishing off The Witcher 3. But then they were like, shit, we actually have a lot more work to do than we thought. We need all hands on deck. Put Cyberpunk 2077 on the back burner. Now, to be fair, in the trailer for Cyberpunk 2077, at the very end, it's like release date. I don't know, something like when it's done or something like that. When
Yeah,
it's ready.
yeah.
So it's not like they lied to us, but at the same time, yes. Announcing a game not even 5 years, because we still haven't seen it. We still haven't seen
We
it.
haven't
So
seen
5 years.
gameplay of it, man. Like
So yeah,
that's the thing that
five
bothers.
years
Honestly,
and
that's the thing that's
counting.
bothering me the most is that like if it's been like 5 years, how long? How many years has it been? How many years?
5 years and counting.
5 years. You'd think that they would have like even like a tiny bit of gameplay, or hell, even another cinematic teaser. I'd take that.
Okay, no, 4 years and counting. It was announced on the 10th of January 2013.
But yeah, no, that's another no show that hurts. Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, so that was it for me. Like, but no, you're right. It's funny that because I came into E3 2017 fully expecting to see Bloodborne 2 and Cyberpunk 2077, but more so Bloodborne 2. Like, if we're being completely
Bloodborne
honest,
2, honestly, if we're being reasonable here, Bloodborne 2 was more likely than 2027.
yeah. If I'm being completely honest, I fully expected to see Bloodborne 2. And then we finished, and for some reason I just forgot that I was expecting to see Bloodborne 2, because when Sony's press conference finished, I was thinking, where's Bloodborne 2? I think I was thinking, wow, that was a really laggy press conference. Maybe that's why.
yeah, that's the reason.
But yeah, that was the biggest no-show for me. Really disappointing, because I me, I love me some Bloodborne.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I'm making content, I think Bloodborne would make for some really good videos on the channel. So
I love every time we talk about Bloodborne, I'm so happy. I'm so happy because of the turn. Because I got you into Bloodborne, and it was the turnaround. The turnaround was great because it was like I was like, Fawaz, there's a wall. There's a wall you have to climb, but on the other side, it's fucking gorgeous. And then you broke through that wall, and you're like, yeah, this game's really good. It's the best. I love that. Anyway, game of the show. Let's bang that out. Do you want me to go first, or do you want to go first? All right, game of the show. This is very easy. It's Monster Hunter World. Like, it's Monster Hunter World because I like when I was thinking about it. All right, what was the game that got me the most excited? And I'm just like, well, Monster Hunter World. That was the one that had me out of my seat, like my hand over my mouth going, no, this is not happening. This is not happening. So, like, everything about what they've shown, it feels like a natural evolution of what Monster Hunter can be. This feels like a proper sequel to me. And I know there's a lot of people that in the Monster Hunter community right now that are really mad because they feel that it's a dumbing down, but it isn't. It isn't. It's different, but this is what the sequel that I've wanted for so long needed to be. Like, it needed to mix things up. And because Monster Hunter pretty much was the same game for the last, 10 years. So, was seeing it, high fidelity, no more loading times between zones, like, that's a big deal. And it's less immersion breaking. So, I'm very, very excited for this game. And the fact that it makes me very excited because I'm looking at this and I'm like, wow, 2018, I'm really... I think the thing that surprised me the most is that I never thought that Sony would be proud enough of Monster Hunter that they would put it on their show, like, front and center. Like, that was the other big surprise of it. Seeing that on the big screen for everyone to see, that made me very happy. The only thing that bummed me out about that trailer was they didn't have the music at the end. It's like, that was the one thing. Although somebody pointed out that part of the reason why they didn't do the music was because it would have, tonally been really weird to shift from goofy music to Shadow of the Colossus. And I was like, okay, but still, they should have just played the music. I don't care.
One thing I will say, Tanner. Sorry,
yeah.
I'm done.
No. I'm done. What were you going to say?
One thing I will say, Tanner, is that this is a Capcom game.
Mm-hmm.
And
they've been more consistent. Okay, here's the difference for Waz. They have been incredibly more consistent with Monster Hunter. And also, the person developing, is the main director. Like, it's the guy who's been directing all of the previous Monster Hunter games from, 1. It's the same guy. So it's not it would be absolutely, they would have to go so far out of their way to fuck this game up. They really would. Now, granted, they might, but the consistency with Monster Hunter for WoW is a lot better than their other series. Like, I can't think of any other Capcom series that has consistent. I'm just saying.
I'm not trying to kill your excitement, right? Right? You know, with you, like, I've already said that, like, I'm probably going to end up buying this game if it comes out and I'm hearing good things about it. If it comes out, you pick it up and you're like that, yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'll probably pick it up, because we need, like, it's Jason's thinking about picking it up. You're picking it up. I haven't played a co-op game with friends in a very long time. So yeah, I can probably see myself picking this up. All I'm saying is that there was a time when I said I actually looked at the comments and was like, shit, this is from like 4 years ago. I was watching a trailer for Devil May Cry 3, and in the comment section, I was like that, wow, Capcom have fallen so far off. The only thing that they get right now are fight. I saw that comment now in hindsight, and I'm like, that's actually pretty hilarious, because now they didn't even get the fighting games right. So, the fact that you were like that, yeah, they get everything wrong, but they get the Monster Hunter games right. I saw flashbacks of myself in you, so I'm just saying,
be careful. You're saying be careful, essentially.
Just, I've gotten heartbroken twice now, but so I don't want to see you fall victim to the same bullshit. But yeah, I'm excited for it too. It looks really cool. I was ready to try the Monster Hunter game. I'll probably end up picking this up. But yeah, my game of the show is a game I tried not to talk about during our last podcast because of how excited I was for it. It's Dragon Ball Fighters. Fighters. I think that's how it's not Fighters Z. It's Fighters. This game is amazing. Okay. Like, it's so first of all, like, my two favorite fighting games are Marvel vs. Capcom 3 and Guilty Gear. And this is a 3v3 fighting game by the makers of Guilty Gear. It's like okay, those are my two favorite. I really like Soul Calibur 2 as well. But I digress. My two favorite fighting games of like the past 5 years. Let's ignore for a second the actual gameplay element and just look at the game itself. And it's funny that people like, because I hate comparing one game to another, right? But it is fitting that this game got announced at E3 2017, the same E3 where Capcom pretty much killed any and all credibility that they had with the fighting game community, because this game is like the anti-Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. The attention to detail. You watch the gameplay and you're like, this game was made by people who love this anime.
Yes.
Like that plain and simple. Like the little things. Someone on Twitter went and took screen caps of different moves that the characters were doing in the trailers, and they found panels from the mangas where they did those moves. These moves were they took shots from the mangas and turned them into moves in this fighting game. Like little things. The fact that, like you mentioned, there's if you shoot a fireball, okay. So how the control scheme works is that you have light, medium, heavy, and then you have a special attack button. The special attack button is the same for every character. It shoots some kind of projectile. You can then use your special attack button to deflect that projectile.
Yeah.
If you do a special attack projectile towards someone and that person deflects it into the background, you actually see destruction happening in the background. If you finish someone off with like a really, really powerful super, but it destroys the level. If you hit someone, Vegeta does his level 3 and he kills someone with it, it zooms out into space and you see the level 3 shooting the person into space. You knock someone out, they fly into a building in the background for the KO. Like it's the little things, like Frieza does his fireball, it hits the ground gets destroyed. I was like, the attention to detail, and like the most tragic part about Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite is that was one of my favorite things about Marvel vs. Capcom 3. It was the attention to detail. The fact that every single character had a different block animation that was fitting for their character. Super Skrull blocked with the Invisible Girl's shield. This was literally all cosmetic, right? But yes, Super Skrull made like the Invisible Girl's bubble. Virgil, there's a scene in Devil May Cry 3 where Dante shoots at Virgil and Virgil spins his sword around and he blocks the bullets. That was Virgil's block animation. He's like spinning his sword and he's blocking. Dante's block animation is his Royal Guard stance from Devil May Cry 3.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the little things like that that I was, you know, the interactions between characters. How Deadpool makes a reference to this meme video, this meme Marvel vs. Capcom 2 video where this one guy said some shit about curly mustache and Pringles. He makes a reference to that. You know, the
little things. It's the little details, and you can see that in this game. And this is something that is really impressed me with everything they've shown about this game. Is that it shows a love and a really good understanding of the series as a whole and what fans of the series want to see.
Yeah. Now, just a couple other things. They've said that because like the older Dragon Ball fighting games have a reputation for being shit games. Kusoges, I think is the term. Yeah, they have a reputation for being shit games. So they were like that. This game they were actually creating with the intention of it being competitive. They want this game to be taken seriously as a fighting game. It's one of the reasons why they brought Arc Systems on to develop the game, right? Now, they didn't say anything about if the head guy of Guilty Gear, I forget his name, but there's the head guy behind Guilty Gear Xrd. They asked if he was working on the game, and they haven't commented on it yet, so I don't know what to make of that. But yeah, that was really cool to hear. But they were like, there's going to be a lot of single-player content for the casuals, you know, there's going to be like a full-fledged story mode. They said that they're taking characters from every, like, no character is safe. Because obviously it's going to primarily focus on the Dragon Ball Z characters, but you know, like you see Frieza becomes Golden Frieza. Golden Frieza is from Dragon Ball Resurrection, which is like a modern Dragon Ball movie. So, you know, Dragon Ball characters could be there. GT is probably not going to be there.
I don't think Dragon Ball people want to talk about GT. I will say I want to see Android 18.
Android 18 is pretty much a shoo-in because she's one of the only women. She's one of the only popular women that you could realistically see fighting against these.
I mean, you could put Chi-Chi in as a joke character, and that would be fucking hilarious.
I think Mr. Satan has already taken.
Okay, Mr. Satan is like the most purest of joke characters ever. Like, it's great. It's great. Mr. Satan. Although I always flip-flop because I know in the manga he's called Mr. Satan, but I think Hercule is so much better of a name overall.
Yeah, Mr. Satan is so weird because, you know, when you think of Satan, you think of, you know, the devil.
Yeah, and Hercule makes more sense with the character because he's a big macho man and he's actually a super big coward, you know, and it's like, you know, I don't know, I love that.
They announced 6 characters at E3. Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, and then the 3 main villains, Frieza, Cell, and Boo.
Yeah.
But literally this morning, before we recorded this podcast, they also revealed Future Trunks. So there was like a scan from it. I mean, like, to the surprise of absolutely no one.
Oh, yeah, well, the Future Trunks is super popular. It's like, and he's
like
awesome.
Future Trunks, Piccolo, and Android 18. Like, I'm willing to bet anything those 3 characters are going to be in the game. But there was a scan from a magazine, and in the scan you see Future Trunks, and he's doing one of the moves from the anime. I forget what it's called, but yeah, it's in there.
It's probably Burning Attack, I would think. He's probably using Burning Attack.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, the game looks amazing. It's the only game from E3 that after, you know, E3 was done, all I've done was just go on YouTube. I've scoured YouTube. I could do a podcast entirely talking about the mechanics of this game. Like, I have studied every video that they released, and I can like walk you through the gameplay mechanics that are in place. Now, obviously, I'm not going to do that on this podcast, but I've already like babbled on long enough. But Dragon Ball FighterZ easily my game of the show.
Yeah, no, definitely those that's a really, really great choice. And honestly, that with Monster Hunter World were definitely 2 really big highlights. And that honestly, that was definitely the best game Microsoft showed the entire conference. Like, yeah, absolutely. But now we got to talk about important business, important questions that need answers. And these questions are being asked by the wonderful Jay Streets. Shout out to Jay Streets. And he asks us, who, this is very important, who is the current video game queen of Thicc with 2 C's? You may have a runner-up if you need to, but the person chosen must have started in video games. So, who wants to tackle this first?
Okay, you know what? I'll go first. So it's funny because I think what inspired this question was that game Fortnite. You know, like Fortnite got like re-revealed like a couple
Oh
weeks
God,
ago,
yeah.
and in the trailer there's this one character, the engineer, and she's like she's thick, like just straight up. There's not a lot of video game characters who are built like that. You know.
Yeah.
So I think that was what inspired him to ask this question. However, I'm going to give this to an older character. I feel like it'll be a little.
Really?
It'll be a little.
Okay. Okay. Money on who it's gonna be. I can't wait.
Okay. The queen of thickness for me is Chun-Li.
Yeah.
You know, I was thinking about it for a while, and I was like, I wanted to give it to the Fortnite engineer because she's really thick. But then I was just like, you know what? No.
It's no. It's me. It's Fawaz, for God's sakes. If he's gonna pick anyone, it's gonna be Chun-Li, for God's sakes.
It's gonna be Chun-Li. You know, not too long ago, people forget that like one of the reasons why I bought Street Fighter 5 digital was because in the pre-order bonus for the digital version was that really cool Chun-Li outfit. Yeah,
I bet if they re-release the Street Fighter movie, you'd be the first one in line. It's like, oh, why are you buying this movie? It's like, oh, it's for the fight scenes. Yeah, for the intense fight scenes, not for that one scene in particular. I don't know what you're talking about.
I watch it for the plot.
I watch it for the plot. Yes. That's the good old.
Like, you know what, guys? I want to cancel my pre-order because sexy Ryu, like sexy Ryu is sexy. I will give him that. But it's sexy Ryu versus sexy Chun-Li, and that's just like it's not even a question for me.
Hey.
So yeah.
Hey, I got sexy Ryu, and I was not complaining. That beard, majestic.
But a runner-up, this one that I want to give it to is another Street Fighter character. Funny enough, it's Armika, Street Fighter 5 Armika.
Oh God, yeah.
Because when they revealed Armika as like, this is surprising. They don't make a lot of video game characters who are built like this, and I tipped my hats to them because like she's okay. So Chun-Li is she's just got like really really big thighs, right? But Armika is just big. Armika is just a big woman. Like the artwork for her, the one where she's like slap chopping towards the screen.
Yeah.
Okay, let me just put it this way. In summary, Armika is so thick, right, that during Evo Grand Finals,
yes,
Fudo chose her default costume, and ESPN were like, nope, you can't use that costume. This character is
you can't. And it's hilarious because it's kind of like, well, no one's actually gonna get to finals with Armika, right? Oh, that's the best.
ESPN actually called it and they were like, nope, tell him to change that costume. That is way too much woman.
I'd love it's like he's good, alright, and he'd pick some more revealing costume instead. And he just puts on his thuggery shirt.
Puts on shades and puts in a little blunt.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have some guesses as to who your answer is.
Well, I mean, it's also who is the current. You gotta respect the classics. You gotta respect the classic as Chun-Li. She was the reigning champ. But it's all about that twin tail, man. Because, damn. Because, Aku would be coming in saying that, like, that's extra thick. That clip is the best thing in the world, by the way, and everyone should watch it.
I haven't seen it.
It's the best. Okay. So for context, I will give you context. So, Aku is calling up all these different services to get more minions to send to kill Jack, and he's on the phone and he's just talking. And you can't hear what the other line's saying. And he goes, "Wait, no! I want extra thick." And he's got like this sneering, like big smile on his face, and I'm like, oh, at the time they didn't know what they were setting up. They did not.
Is that from season 5?
That's like that's not from season 5. That's from like season 3. Like.
Oh my god! You know, the funny part is that I probably saw it when I was a kid, and I was like an innocent kid, and I was just like, oh, you're just asking for extra thick.
Everything about that is the best. But yeah, Twin Tail, like, holy shit. Like, I mean, if you look at her friggin' walking animation, like, the camera's right behind her, so you can't escape it. like damn, and like
Yeah.
I like all those like parody covers of just arms and just it's all a bunch of twin tail, rated thick.
Oh
So
my.
it, rated thick with two
That's
C's.
funny.
Every time I love the 2C part. That's the part that makes it work. But I also want to point out, shout outs to Smog. He's a close contender. He's got those fies. Just saying. Just saying.
Wait, who? What?
You have no idea what I'm talking about.
I never know what you're talking about.
That is that a theme of the podcast most of the time? I'm talking about Smog from Dark Souls.
Oh my god. Yeah, you know what? He's pretty thick.
He's
lie.
pretty thick. He's pretty thick. That's how I like to do these questions. Because everyone gets a winner. Every team gets a winner. But great question, J Streets. That was a good one. That's a good one. But if you got a question for us, make sure to answer it. Make sure to answer it in the next podcast. You have to answer it. We won't.
Oh, yeah, and for J Streets and everybody, leave in the comment section of this video who your queen or king, we don't discriminate.
We don't discriminate here.
Your queen or king of thickness is in the comment section. We'd love to hear your answers.
Mm-hmm. I would love to see some answers because I want to see some more joke answers. Please put joke answers if you don't want to put real answers because I want to see them. Because me doing some research on this topic because I actually had to double check what thick actually meant.
Oh my god, Tana.
Because I'm up to date on all the hip new memes.
Oh my god.
Anyway, that's a podcast, folks. So we'll see you guys next time. Take care. Bye.